As the 2025 Anambra State Governorship campaign kicks off on Wednesday, Governor Soludo has said he is optimistic that his achievements will secure him victory in the November 8, 2025 election. The Independent National Electoral Commission on Wednesday announced on June 11th as the official commencement date for the election campaigns, which must end at midnight on Thursday. That's November 6, 2025. Now, to discuss this, I'm joined by Reverend Canon Francis Onozuruike. He's a political analyst and he joins virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Dapo. Good evening. Thanks for having me this evening. How are you?
All right. It's great to have you also, Reverend Francis. Let me start by first asking, for you, if you were to give a scorecard, to the administration so far of Governor Soludo, what will it be?
Yeah, if I have to give a scorecard in terms of rating Soludo from 1 to 10, I will put him around that 8. And the reason is that we have some unfinished business. For what he has delivered so far is immense. Having been on ground for the past 4 days in Anambra, there are echoes of Soludo coming back from the grassroots, not just people in diaspora or people on the social media, but people in the grassroots. Having been to the churches, meet some traditional rulers and what they are saying, and also some of the market women, I think Soludo has his work cut out, to be the next governor of Anambra again.
All right, maybe we should streamline it to certain areas. Now, a pivotal here is the issue of security and the economy there, the cost of living, and also the standard of living in Anambra State. Let's start with that, on that note. Would you say that Governor Soludo has done enough to encourage businesses to grow, business owners there to be able to stay afloat, and the standard of living there to be affordable? Would you say he has done so much in those areas, since you said you're pretty much close with the grassroots?
Yeah, before being to Anambra, I may have a reservation, but having been in Anambra in the past 4 days, in terms of security, we all know what the security is like in the southeast of Nigeria. It's not just Anambra alone. These are operatives coming from neighboring state into Anambra and operating within Anambra space and, exiting. And what the governor has done so far is quite an incredible and, immense improvement in terms of security. There are places that I wouldn't have gone to even with my security details, when I'm in Anambra, but I was able to go there. Having to walk in the street of Nnewi without any security, these are things that wouldn't happen in 6 months previously, and I wouldn't even dare to do that, 6 months before now. And also the cost of living. We know what the cost of living is in the country. You just know Anambra, but Soludo is working close in hand with the importers and the farmers and the markets women, especially, to make sure that things are in place. What else do you want a governor to do? Why his people, are calling for him to return for second time, then he must be doing something in the grassroots. And I tell people, I said, it's not about, you coming on social media. I'm on ground. I went there, I speak to them, and I asked not just the local people. I talked about the who is who, the chiefs and the clergymen in the state, and they're all singing his praises. There are places in the last 30 or 40 years, there's never been a road. And how do you expect the farmers or the market women to bring their produce to the markets? Because there's no road. And now there's road, so they can bring those things to the market, and that helps the price, so people can feed. And that's one of the credits I give to Soludo on this one.
I'm still going to stay with you on the issue of security, because you seem to have given him a pass mark, saying that quite a lot has been done. But some would also argue differently and say that, look, when it comes to security, you cannot say it's entirely safe, right? I mean, there are still cases of intimidation, abduction, and what have you. So how would you say that it's done fairly well, in ensuring that residents of that state are safe, when, of course, there are still issues, deep issues abound?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I was opportune to meet one of his TC chairman from Onitsha North, and when I asked him about, what made him come down from United States to take this position, and he began to explain to me the challenges that he faced in the first 6 months. And this guy was actually shared. So 6 months later, when the governor introduced the crackdown on these hoodlums, introducing the Operation Agune Chamber or Operation Udogachi, and these vigilante groups are just all over the places. I don't know if you follow the social media and you could see where they have cut down on these insecurity things, where people get adopted, killed for money ritual, and hold for ransom. And since this Operation Udogachi is out there, and the people of Anambra has breed, the slogan, let the people breed. At least the people of Anambra has breed in the last 3 to 6 months. And I can tell you that I'm not just taking the facts maybe from social media or news media. I was on ground myself. I asked people questions. I said, before now, what do you think about Anambra? They told me Anambra is no-go area. Even here you stand and you wouldn't dare be here by 5 p.m. But I was there by 8, 9, 10, speaking to people, trying to annex, the importance and how security has improved tremendously. Because, without security, there will be no election. And the governor has gone ahead to tell the people, hey, you guys can come out, let us vote, let us hold
Reverend
our
Francis.
place. And what is
Reverend Francis, I'm still going to stay with you. I'm still going to stay with you on the issue of security too, because I mean, you did mention that crackdown, and of course that leads me to the issue or the question of we know that at some point, some months back or weeks back, there was a major crackdown on native doctors in the state who were fingered as helping prepare charms, either for money or for protection to people of questionable character. We'll definitely come back to this conversation and more, and your take on this after this break. Stay with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and of course I'm still speaking with Reverend Canon Francis. He's a political analyst joining virtually from Abuja. Thank you for staying with me, sir. Just like I said before we went on that break, let's look at the recent crackdown of Governor Charles Soludo on native doctors. Of course, according to him, the aim is to root out fake native doctors. And about 40 arrests, were made, and some of them, detained for alleged involvement in very questionable activities. I mean, on a very, I call it hilarious note, the governor even offered a chance for them to escape, to use their powers to flee, since some of them claim they can teleport, right? But this is where I'm going with this. Some have questioned this as, a crackdown also on culture, because as much as some people might not be Christians or Muslims, some individuals genuinely patronize these people, and they saw it as some sort of maybe witch hunt. Some might say religious or even political. I'd like you to speak on that. Do you think that there was fairness in this, or do you think this was just a move to score, according to some, cheap political points?
Thank you, Dabo. I know people have various views on this, but let's call a spade a spade. Before now, Anambra is no-go area. Anambra is a war zone. In fact, the community is at war with itself. So, and why would someone just wake up and say, oh, this is a political stunt because the election is coming? I mean, you look at the people who has lost their life because someone told them they can have this quick, rich kind of a thing, that involves human, and where if you get shot at, the bullet will penetrate your body, and they go out and carry all this gruesome murder. We know how innocent people have lost their life because these guys keep coming on social media, telling them all sort of rubbish and making them believe that is a rich get quick scheme. I mean, to me, this is first of its kind in the Southeast. Never before have we seen this number of native doctors being incarcerated. And there are still more, there are still questionings, There are more far back, 5-7 years ago, where people has gone into these killings and nothing has been done. But now they are speaking up, they're calling names. And there are other big names that's going to arise from this. Those who patronize these people. I mean, life has been lost, innocent life. So there's no more regard for life because the herbalist is telling you when you bring human part, you're going to be rich. If you go out there, you kidnap, and someone is saying it's political stuff. No, it's not. You can't kill your own and want to justify it. And I will tell you, there is difference between culture and ritualist. Anyone telling you that the culture has been dented, is attack on the culture? No, I was in Anambra and I visited the Ibre of Ujoto and I was in the palace and I see how the culture of Igbo cosmology was displayed in its beauty. And I didn't see any human blood, I didn't see any fetish, I didn't see any killing of any animal, It's just prayer and stuff like that, making those incantations and calling their ancestors. So when people say these are an attack on the culture, that's a lie from the pit of hell. You can't justify any evil. You cannot. Killing of one is killing of all. No amount of justification someone can put on life. You took someone else's life in the means to make a living, and you're coming to justify it. In fact, on these accounts, Governor Soludo should come back and finish up where he started, because I don't think any other governor before him has done such a thing.
All right, Reverend Francis, I mean, you seem to speak glowingly about the governor, but let's also go back to the economy, where we know that in about 2024, the state presented a modest budget of 410 billion with a recurrent expenditure of 96.2 billion, naira. We also understand that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did increase the allocation for states. You've made mention that the governor, in terms of infrastructure, has done quite a lot of feat in terms of that. But would you, I mean, from what you've seen, would you say that this justifies the amount that the state now receives as allocation? The level of infrastructure on ground?
Yeah, I would say is, if you look at the level of infrastructure that the governor has put in place in Anambra, remember, he's an economist. This guy was the guy that was drafted in to save us from this banking crisis during President Obasanjo. And that's when my first encounter with Professor Chukwuma Soludo. I was a victim of those crises in those banks, and he coming in to put all this in place. I mean, what else could you ask from a man with a wisdom to be a governor of central bank? I mean, we know the money runs the economy. The money runs the country, and whoever controls the money, also controls the affairs of the nation as well. So Chukwuma coming to help the central bank to put a structure in place where people don't just, lose their, life savings or all the money they worked in their life. As an example, I was very young and I lost a lot of money. If I'm not hard working, what would have become of me? Maybe people who hasn't recovered from that.
Maybe I should just put this question to you this way, right? Because we really need to go. I mean, Anambra State has quite a number of billionaires. It's not even a secret. It has people that are doing well in business. But another fact is that many of them are not residents in the state or even have their businesses in the state. So I'm going to put it to you. I mean, do you think what is on ground in Anambra in terms of infrastructure is solid enough to draw these natives of the states to come back and say, you know what, I want to pump my money and maybe start off my life or continue my business, have the headquarters in Anambra State. Do you think what is on ground, by this governor, do you think is enough to inspire or motivate, businessmen who are doing well to come back home and say, you know what, I want to invest here? 30 seconds.
I'll tell you, I visited in Navy, I visited this market hub, and I was blown away in the amount of resources. People can say all those things. Believe me, these so-called guys who think they don't have their businesses in Anambra, they do have businesses in Anambra. I can tell you that. And the governor coming to the United Kingdom a month or two ago to address, the diasporian to come back home to invest and also play out in some of his policies and some of his manifesto to them. And the security part is a huge issue. There's a guarantee that you can come back home, you can invest, and nothing is going to happen to your investment. There's a lot of structures that the governor has put in place in terms of investment. It's not business as usual. And I don't want to believe that some of these guys, the so-called billionaires who's taking their money out of Anambra, Nnewi is a commercial hub for the eastern region. There's no two ways about it. I was there. I spent hours trying to understand,
All right, Reverend Francis, thank you so much for your time. I really understand that we really need to go. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye. All right, at this point, this, of course, is where we drop the curtains. In case you missed out, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform and follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can also choose to follow me personally at Dakwo at Digboye. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.